So bad vibe. It's another episode of the D Start Show with Jordan, Ray, and Nick. What's going on, guys?
Evening. What's going on?
Hey, yeah, man, we got this. They go, Ray.
Hello.
What's going
Hey
on? There
y'all.
you go. Hey, y'all. Tonight we got a different type of show tonight, man. We got some authors on. Gina from Dope Living TV. Actually put us on them. Jordan, you got more details. You want to go take over?
Yeah, so tonight is a bit of a different show than what we normally shoot. Right now, we have on three distinguished authors, and we're going to get to know them a little bit better on tonight's show. So I'm going to introduce them one by one as I bring them to the stage. So we have Teresa Hickman. Hi, Teresa. Welcome to the D Star Show. We're happy to have you on.
How you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Good.
We also have Latanya Woodson. How you doing? Welcome to the D Stark Show. Happy to have you on.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Absolutely.
Good to be here.
And lastly, we have Patricia Wallace, award-winning author. So,
Hello.
hello.
Welcome.
Happy to have you ladies on tonight. Again, this isn't going to be one of those super serious interviews. Our show is more informal, but that's all right. We still want our listeners to get to know who you are. Some of them will tune in. It's a bit of a different show. So this is going to be different for us. We've done interviews in the past, such as like music artists, DJs, radio personnel, things like that, but we've never had authors, let alone award-winning authors on our show. So congratulations on all you guys' achievements as well. So
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
absolutely. I can't imagine writing books is easy, whether it's a children's book, a novel, whatever kind of book it is. I know it's probably one of those things where you edit it multiple times because you're like, no, this ain't it. I want to change this. No, this ain't it. I want to change this, or I want to change this. So first, I want you all to introduce yourselves. Let us know who you are. I know that I believe all of you are up for the Distinguished Authors Guild Award if you haven't already won the award, because I know some of you have. We were supposed to have two additional authors on tonight, but I'm assuming that they couldn't make it. But if they do jump on midstream, we'll go ahead and allow them in. So why don't we start with you first, Teresa? Go ahead and give us a little bit of background information about yourself.
All right, no worries. Thank you for allowing me to be on your show today. Well, you all show. I am Teresa Smith Hickman, also known as Mother Dove. I am an educator. I'm an author, a speaker. I have my own nonprofit, as you can see here. I am the owner and founder of Mother Dove's Academy, which is a tutoring business right here in the Chicagoland area in Bronzeville. I have been working with children for over 15 years now, and I am nominated for the Distinguished Author Guild Award for 2025 for my children's book, I Can Just, Nope, that's the one that won in 2023. This one is I Am A to Z, and in 2023 was I Can't Just Try, and that one won. So, yeah, that's me.
Congratulations.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
All right. Moving on across my screen, and again, I'm not doing it in any particular order, but Latanya.
Latanya. Hi, everyone. And thanks again for allowing me to be on your platform. I consider this a great opportunity. But I am Latanya Rochelle Woodson. I am by trade, I work in the mental health arena. I've been in the healthcare field for over 25 years, but mostly just working with the community. I started, as an outreach manager, and now I'm the director of community health education for a mental health organization in the city of Gary. And I am also an author. This is actually my second year with DAG. The first book, which was launched in 2021, is Learn, Release, Walk. It's my name, Latanya Rochelle Woodson, because it's a book about me, about self-discovery and emotional management. And Learn, Release, Walk was recognized by Dad in the inspirational category. So this year, I decided to write a children's series. I wanted to dedicate it to my grandchildren and to inspire them to write as well. And it's called What's Up Romeo, WHAZ. What's Up Romeo? And it's a series that teaches children essential skills of living. And it's about our dog, our fur baby. And like I said before, it's a series, and it's broken up into 3 books. What's Up Romeo? Do Not Talk to Strangers. What's Up Romeo? My Friend Is Different. So What? And then I have a special edition. What's Up Romeo? I'm sad. Let's talk about it, which addresses mental health awareness and emotional management.
Excellent, excellent. I have some really interesting questions for you later on.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to Patricia. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you again for allowing me to be here on your show. I appreciate it. It's an honor. My name is Patricia Wallace, and I am the author of my first children's book. Is the author of Christopher's Time Out, and I won 2 awards for that. One of them being the Distinguished Authors Guild Award, which I'm very proud of. And I just believe in writing stories that capture the book lover's imagination as they dream about their own possibilities, you know, whether they're writing it or reading, you know, because the books take you in different places where your imagination can take you places where books, you know, just handle everything. And so I have an educational background in English literature. Copywriting, copy editing, proofreading, technical writing. That's what I do in my day job. That's been my interest my whole entire career. And so a couple of years ago, I expanded it into publishing and writing my own book, you know, therefore expanding my own creative gifts that I have. And so I'm the mother of 3 children. They're grown now, but they gave me plenty of inspiration for the book that I did write, Christopher's Time Out, which is about a 2nd grader who has a strong sense of adventure, and he gets in trouble in the classroom a lot. So the book describes in a joyful, highlighted, high-level way of how to behave like you have good sense in the classroom and not being the class clown. And so I'm also looking to expand my editing in a more personal endeavor to help other authors bring their written word to life, because I think it's a beautiful thing to help each other, which is one of the things that the Distinguished Authors Guild is very, very strong in. And so I'd like to be a part of that in my own way, embracing it in the way that I'm able to help other authors achieve what they're trying to achieve.
All right. That is amazing. You know, a lot of folks in our community, especially the younger folks in our community, and I do mean in the Black community, the African American community, they are not too literate. They're not book savvy. They're not really interested in reading, from a lot of the conversations that I have, and then a lot of the attitudes that our young people have around school, especially towards literature at that. So I am very thankful that you all are making an impact at a small level with children's books, and then at a higher level with, you know, mental awareness, like Latanya was speaking about earlier, because there's something about education that provides plenty of opportunities to young people, old people, just people in general. And if we don't have literacy skills, and if we don't have people building foundations of literacy at a younger age, it's gonna collapse. That's just a tragedy.
So I did have a question though. Like, do y'all think internet has affected the kids on reading books and stuff in school? Versus, like, you know, when I was growing up, we'd go read a book, and it was like best thing ever. You know what I'm saying? But now we got the internet, social media. I don't think too many kids are reading books now. How do we get that back into the schools?
Is it affecting it? Absolutely. In so many ways. A lot of the times our students are reading on their devices, right? We have so many programs that they, have to actually log in and complete different activities. And a lot of those things are within comprehension, within their reading development. And so they're reliant heavily on screens in order to build their knowledge, build their reading capacity, build their stamina. And to be honest, a lot of schools are taking books out of the school system, which is sad, especially because if they're not getting those experiences at home, if they're not being allowed to, have story time before bed or have book clubs with their parents and their peers, things like that, then when will they ever pick up a book if we as schools begin to continue to take them out? So me as an educator, it drives me crazy.
So as an author, how do you compete with social media and stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? With kids got more attention, social media and all that.
So one of the things that in which I like to do story times with Mother Dove, because I'm Mother Dove, y'all, don't forget. I like to do story times with Mother Doves around the city of Chicago, surrounding areas, and sometimes I also have traveled to do my speaking, my story times. But along with the reading, I also provide enrichment activities to reinforce the skills that I want the kids to understand and grab from the reading, right? The problem is that so many kids think reading is boring because they can't really relate to it. They don't have anything tangible to really hold on to so that it can really manifest into their everyday. And so to offset that is, for my children's book, I Can Just Try, I provide enrichment activities to reinforce you can do anything if you just try. And they are trying different skills within the circle of the event. So that's one way in which I do it. And then when I'm in front of my students, I'm really focusing in on how to, act out or be expressive in your reading, right? A lot of the times we read so just dry, and especially when we're reading to our kids, and if we don't show the expression and enjoyment of reading for them, then they won't ever learn and want to love reading. And so those are a few things in which I personally try to incorporate on the daily.
I totally agree with what you're saying, Teresa, because it's so important. And also just, it starts at home, like with the parents,
Yep.
They can control the screen time and everything. And let's read the book and the story times and let's go to the bookstore. And the beauty of every genre of books is that there's something for everyone. There's no such thing as too many children's books. And so just trying to guide them to see what their interests are. Like my youngest, he did not like to read and he didn't like to write, and he loved basketball though. And so my job was to steer him into trying to read basketball stories, stories about a good win. How do you handle a good win? Bad stories about how to take a loss. You know what I mean? And so these are also books, of course, that reflect life lessons, but sparking the interest. And then if nothing else, you'll be interested to read in what you already are excited about, but then you may be inspired to expand, your interest. So I think it starts at home. And then also I like the part what you said about the acting out, because I was a junior Great Books leader when my kids were growing up. And that was one of the things I did after every session. I asked them to pick a scene, that their favorite scene in the story, and then to act it out however they wanted to do it. They were free to just take that to another level. So I think there's, as adults and as parents, I think it's on us to provide that inspiration and plant those seeds to help them grow. So at least they're exposed to it.
And I agree with both of them. And, we have to ask ourselves a question. Our parents, especially the younger parents, are they taking the time out to read to their children, at bedtime?
Yes.
And that was one of the things that empowered me to write a children's book to start a legacy for my grandchildren.
Mhm.
And I talked to them about it. I said, while teaching them essential skills, like do not talk to strangers, the importance of staying safe. And they have it, and in my children's book, there's pictures of my grandchildren because I want them to see characters that look like them. So when other kids pick up a book, especially in our Black and Brown communities, they need to see characters that look like them. They need to see the hair. They need to, even our lingo,
Yes.
even our community, they need to feel that because if they do not, then it won't be relatable to them.
Yes.
Gotcha. I know you're saying that it started at home. You know what I'm saying? Like you were saying in our brown communities, a lot of that ain't happening. So what can we
Yeah.
do? Like our platform, Don't Live in TV, other platforms, what can we do to help these kids out? You know what I'm saying? So,
What we're doing now, just talking about it and presenting it to them in a fun way because they so quick to want to go to social media. They so quick to want to pick up a device or they so quick to want to play a game, which is okay. But like you said before, they're taking books away, and that's really a sad situation right there. And I want to say that you could really see the downfall of that during the pandemic.
yep, most
Mm.
definitely. Most definitely.
Another thing that I wanted to just add to that, how do we encourage it with our parents? So for us who are educators, but then also who are not educators, like just providing different resources, different things and activities that we can encourage families to do at home, right? So right now at my school, I'm planning our literacy night. And one of the takeaways in which I'm having for our parents to do or take away with them is like a reading challenge, but like fun things that you do, like make a fort and read under the fort, right?
Right.
Or act out your favorite book, or making sure that you read for 5 or 10 minutes each night, or having a book club, especially for those kids who are a little bit older, like mom and dad and son or daughter, whatever, the family are reading the exact same book, and then you guys are talking about it. Like we have to encourage it. We have to like really put it out there, and give them the resources that they need, because they might not. What I find is that a lot of times they're unsure. Well, how do I do it? What's the first step? What does this look like in my home? And just providing a little bit of those nuggets on what you could do to make it fun. My son, he's 20 months, and when I tell you, he loves reading because we read every night. He loves picking up books and holding pencils and writing and things like that, because it's something that I'm doing with him every day, and I believe that everybody can do that. It just takes a few moments out of your time, out of your day. So just keep encouraging people, keep it, telling the next person on the next show, hey, make sure you read your children's book or your novel, whatever, with your kids tonight or something. We just have to be the impact that we want.
Absolutely.
That's true. Awareness is everything, and it goes a long way, and just keeping it alive and at the forefront, of what we want people to know and see what they do with it.
Gotcha.
I myself have 3 children. My oldest daughter is starting pre-K. She started pre-K a couple of months ago, and they're using the tablets, the iPads, because there's an IXL curriculum, I guess is one of the school level curriculum. So she's fairly smart, she's advancing, but one of the things that I do not care for is the screen time. And I know that it's where we're shifting because we're in the world of AI, automation, computer technology, crypto, and we're shifting away from manual learning to digital learning at every single angle that you can imagine. And I mean kids as well. But one of the things that you said was different tones, inflection, just being excited to read my children a book. And it is very interesting because my 3-year-old, she'll be 4 in December. She's practicing sight words. So as we drive down the street, she understands which words to recognize, and she can repeat those things back to me because she knows. And now my 2-year-old daughter, she just gets excited to read a book because I'm reading one to my 3-year-old daughter. So that trickle down, that kind of awareness that my younger daughter has, that my oldest daughter is reading, hey, I want to read too, because she wants to do things that she can do. It does make an impact. And then when you're dealing with children, I have noticed, because, you know, I observe a lot of things and I just stay quiet until I get ready to say something. They are animated, and they like adults to be animated and excited to do those things with them. So it makes a big difference from reading a book monotone, very boring, pointing at every word on the page, to adding inflection, adding excitement, you know, asking them questions about what's in the book. So if I'm reading something and I'll ask them, hey, what color is this elephant? Or what color is this tree? Or what type of food is this? So they're not only picking up on the actual knowledge in the book, they can evaluate different aspects of what we're reading to retain that information and also associate it with other things. I do believe literacy is the only way to actually get ahead in life, especially at a younger age in our community. So I do appreciate everything that you all are doing. I continue to tell you that we can't stop here. We have to make sure that our children do enjoy reading, not only learn how to read, but enjoy reading. I was a part of a program in elementary school. Maybe you all know about it, but it was called Battle of the Books. And we used to compete against other schools based off of like 7 or 8 books that we had to read. And that's exciting because, you know, you're able to read, retain, and regurgitate information now to your peers. And I believe Patricia said that the imagination aspect, your mind's going to take you there. You're going to read it and your mind's going to build it. And it may not be built the exact same way someone else is going to look at it, but your mind is going to build it. And I think that that's amazing that we have the ability to do that. Before we continue, I do want to get to some of the comments. We're 20 minutes in, and I can already tell this might be one of those longer shows that we typically have. So first comment is from Greg Gray. He said, great to see all on the show. Yeah, Greg, you know, we do what we can to hold it down. We do what we can. He also said, hey, Patricia, Latanya, and Teresa, great job.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Shanae Jenkins said, hey, Dag family.
Hello. Hey, Shana. Hey, Dr. Stevens. How are you doing?
Carol Stevens also said the same thing. Carolyn Stevens. Let's see. I think Greg also posed a question in the comments. Do you feel pressure after the first book to hurry up and get another book out? Also, how do you build and keep the momentum going? So why don't we start with Patricia and work our way the other way?
That's a very interesting question, and it's very timely because I did get questions almost instantly, like as soon as Christopher's Timeouts came out, like, okay, what's he up to next? What is he going to do next? And so I was torn between, okay, do I need to meet this need? You know, people asking, but I have to figure out what he's doing. You know, what's compelling, because the lesson in the first story is how to behave correctly in class. So he learned that lesson. Now, what else is he going to do? And the creative process is not a rush job. You know what I mean? So like I won the award last year, and then, you know, people were like, oh, well, you can go ahead and submit it, you know, and be ready for next year. But I have to get the ideas correct. I have to flow, and the creative process has to go through the channels that it has to go through. So no, I'm not ready to do that yet. I have something in the works, but it'll be done when it's done. So I was tempted to lean into the pressure, but then I knew that wasn't the right way for me to go. That's not going to work for me. So, you know, it's just a matter of it'll get done when it's done. And you know, that's just how it's going to work.
Okay.
So with me and with What's Up Romeo series, like I said before, I wanted to leave a legacy for my grandchildren. And these are real life scenarios that I wanted to present to them. And it's very important for us to just sit down and talk to our children, and we can't think that they're too young to grasp this information, especially when it comes to safety and with so many kids being on social media. We sometimes think that when we talk about strangers, we're just talking about people that they may see on the street or in a mall or if they're walking home from school. They need to stay safe in every situation, even in the home, even with family members, even with at church, especially when they're on social media or when they're going over to their friend's home. And this is what What's Up Romeo, it addresses those things. My friend is different. So what? It talks about similarities and differences in different people, but we take it with a perspective of dogs. We don't use people in those situations. We may see a dog that may be handicapped, or we may see a dog that looks different or have various colors on. So that's how I approach that and how I approach the series, especially when it dealt with mental health, because we have so many children dealing with mental health issues, especially in today's society. We do not think that kids are listening to what's going on as far as our government and what's going on as far as the racism is concerned. We think they're not listening, but they are listening. And you have children breaking down, having mental health issues. And we have to normalize the conversation with them and let them know it's okay to feel sad. It's okay, to grieve. It's okay, if you have, bouts of stress or depression. When we were growing up, we didn't talk about it. We felt it,
That part.
but we didn't talk about it because we're still addressing the stigma, especially in Black and brown communities.
That part.
I heard my mother to say that she was tired all the time. And I'm thinking, go get some sleep. But my mother said she was tired every single day.
Mm.
That was because she was dealing with some depression. Because as women, we're taught we got to keep going. And my mother, she was the wife, she was the mother, she was the community leader, she helped the homeless, she fed, she took care of grandbabies, she fed the sick, and it kept going on and on and on and on. So I saw that growing up, but we didn't have a name for it. And if we did have a name for it, it was the crazy people down the street. Or don't go down there because they crazy.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this is the importance of, having books that you can get down to real life, essential situations. And one of you mentioned about questions at the end of the book. After they read it, then we have questions that I address. Because, see, in my community or in some children's community, a police officer may be the right person to go to if you need help. But in another community, it may not be.
Nothing. Yep.
It may be a pastor. It may be a teacher. So I can go on and on, but yeah. But one other thing that I wanted to say was it pressure? I already have another book that's in mind, but I have not um, started on it. I wanted to say that I deal with real life situations. My dog Romeo, and that's who we named the book after. What's Up, Romeo? He almost lost his life. My husband was walking the dog one day, and a pit bull. Um, Someone left the gate unopened, and the pit bull saw my husband and our dog walking. I have a little dog, and he ran across the street and attacked my dog. And my dog almost lost his life. So to make a long story short, with that, someone came to me and they said, "You need to write another series." And I'm like, "What's the series?" "There's a bully in the neighborhood." Because at first, my dog wasn't afraid of big dogs. He was a dog that was, friendly with every dog. But now my dog has trauma.
Man.
That's another book. So yeah, I enjoy this journey of reading to my grandchildren, depicting them in the book because it shows them children that look like them. When other children from other communities, they need to see, Black children and diversity in books. So yeah, I think this is a great way to go.
What about you, Teresa?
Yeah, I know it's my turn, but can you give me that question again?
Of course. And that tends to be how good conversations go. We forget things. We get lost in the sauce when we have those good conversations. So, Greg asked, do you feel pressure after the first book to hurry up and get another book out? Also, how do you build and keep the momentum going? One of the things that I'll say before you give an answer, I believe in any industry, there is a bit of pressure once you've been successful in something for people to expect you to continue to succeed. But I can imagine that all of you value quality of your work over quantity of your work. So I can imagine, even if you feel the pressure, you're going to put out a quality piece before you just put out something that doesn't make any sense because it's pressure from society. But go ahead, Teresa, your answer to the question.
Yeah, so I wanted to answer that question. So this was my very first book, I Can Just Try, which is about a little girl named Terry who always thought she couldn't do something until she was inspired to just try, right? When this book first came out, they still love it. Don't get me wrong. It's a great book. So you got to get it. But when it first came out and I was going to different vending events and things like that, so many people kept on telling me, well, what about the boys? What about the boys? And my response always was, well, Terry is here to inspire more girls and boys just like her. Because not only girls keep saying they can't, boys do too, right? But I understood it. I understood they wanted to see a little, the little Black boy on the face of the cover as well. So that pressure almost got to me. To say, let me get Terry's little brother KJ out sooner than when I actually had it planned out, right? He's not out yet. Now he in the making. He should be out within the next month or two, but he's not out yet. And I say that is because I needed to allow for Terry to make her mark first. KJ is Terry's little brother. However, she has come through the trenches on her own first. And I needed her to shine bright and allow people to know who she is as an individual before bringing KJ. Right now, granted, once I wrote this book, I then 2 years after that wrote this one, which is the nominated book, I Am A to Z, right? And in 2, it is still about Terry. But the reason why the shift in which I stayed with her is because I wanted to make sure that the values and the things in which I'm trying to instill in our children came authentically. So I wrote this book because so many kids, I'm like, they don't have the words to describe themselves. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I needed to figure out, how do I give them those words? When I wrote I Can't Just Try, it was so that I can encourage them to, be confident and competent, right? Because it was during the pandemic when so many kids were just giving up on themselves. But when I Am A to Z came out, it's because so many kids, I would ask, who are you? And they couldn't tell me. They couldn't describe who they are. They couldn't authentically be who they wanted to be because they didn't know, right? And so that's what made me say, you know what, I got to put this in a book. And so in this book, Terry is going through an affirmational journey of telling people who she is from A to Z. And by the end of the story, I encourage the children to actually write their own affirmation from A to Z, teaching them all the vocabulary words. There is also a glossary in this book with every word that I have in the book, so that I can teach the kids the words, give them the vocabulary, because it's all about building that. And so that's where those two, and I have more books in the making, and I also have I have two more books that is already out, the ABCs of Black History and an activity book as well. But do I feel pressure? I did, but in my timing, and that is realistic and beneficial for the youth, because I'm trying to meet the needs of our youth. So that's
and I think the beauty of what you're saying is the whole point of how you're relating with your intended audience, because they're all in and they want more, and they're telling you exactly what they want, and that can help guide what's next. You know what I mean? Like for me, my book was based on my son's antics when he was in kindergarten, and I was just writing stuff down because it was hilarious to a point, but it was enough where there was a teachable moment there. But I didn't think of expanding that to what will Christopher do next. But in real life, Christopher did a lot. You know what I mean? So then that kind of sparked me to go, well, maybe there is more. So then, so it is a fine line, but I think it's very inspirational for us as authors when we get that type of feedback, because, it could be a non-response, like, okay, you wrote a book, okay, whatever. But the fact that we're onto something and we're able to engage with them, that shows us that we're walking in our gifts, for one, and that we're open enough to help that guide us into what we need to embark on next.
Yes, I love it.
I want to get through some more of these comments, and then I want to give Ray or Nick a chance to ask a couple of questions, because I'm sure they have some. This next comment we have is from Farian, and excuse me if I pronounce a name wrong, Farian McLemore. She says, "Hey, DAG family."
Hi, Farron.
Says, "Hello, everyone." Let's see. We have TJ said, "What up, everyone?" TJ is one of our regular listeners. It's a D-Star show, so what's going on today?
Hello.
Hello.
Stephen Edwards, this is from Greg's show. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Miss Gina.
Miss Gina.
These are awesome authors coming from Gina Gaston. Gina, and also thank you for letting us have them on and making that introduction so we could build this relationship for a positive show. Let's see. This is Giovanni. He says, my daughter is doing the same thing in school. So I'm assuming he's talking about the IXL. That's what a lot of the younger kids, especially pre-K, are doing now.
Well, it actually goes up to 8th grade. Just let you know. Yeah, it does. It's a curriculum that is being utilized in a lot of schools today. It's a great one, but it's been a lot of time on there.
Yeah, a little too much time.
Is it all electronic work on the IXL? Is it all computer work?
It is. So what it does is that it gives a diagnostics at first, and so from there it allows for them to work on skills specifically for their needs, right? And so based off of where the kids are from their diagnostics, it recommends different lessons for them. But teachers can also put recommended lessons on there that they want the kids to complete that are at grade level. And so, yeah, it's all online. It's not the only thing that they're using. However, it is a big part of their day, because they do it in both reading and math.
Got it. Okay. Natalie Murphy says, hi, DAG family.
Hello, Natalie.
Illustrations in all their books are phenomenal. We'll talk about that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's see. This is Nick Davis II. This is Nick's son, I believe. Creating positive stories for youth to consume is one thing, but how do we get them to care about them?
Good
Interesting. Before we answer that, we're going to read the rest of these comments. We only have 2 more. Carolyn Stevens says, yes, Coach Latanya Woodson. So,
Thank you, Dr. Carolyn Stevens. Dr. Carolyn was instrumental in helping me bring What's Up Romeo to fruition and helping me with the images and just bring it to life. Again, I already said that these are real life scenarios, especially the mental health um, book or the series where Dr. Carolyn, she herself, she wrote a foreword in the book. I had Jay Vincent to do something in the book because I really wanted parents to understand the essence of teaching our children emotional management at a very early age. It's not too early to address that. I was at a school, as I indicated, I work for a mental health organization, and many times we go to elementary schools. And one of the schools that we went to, the kids were as young as kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth graders, and they was learning about mental health, and they know the importance of if they are going through situations that maybe a loved one had passed, or they're dealing with a situation at home, mom and dad is not getting along, they're hearing arguing, or siblings getting into it. They know that it is okay if the family needs intervention, so they already learning the lingo. They already learning, the words to that. So we shouldn't be afraid to introduce that conversation at an early age, especially if we see a child that is going through something like that.
That point.
all right. So this is the last comment we have from Gina. Before we address the other question we had in the comment section, Ray, Nick, did you have any questions that you want to pose?
I did. So my first question was actually for you, Teresa. As a educator, how do you balance teaching a lesson in your book versus trying to keep the kids engaged and entertained? Or do you ever find it to be like a battle?
For me, no. I think that because I feel like God born me to be an educator, right? He said that was my purpose from a very young age, and so it comes naturally for me to teach, right? But while I'm engaging the students, I'm also very animated because I just feel like I'm very bubbly, I'm very full of life and all this energy, and so I kind of just put those 2 worlds together and then bring my books to life in that way. I find it enjoyable. So a part of my reading experience, that's like the best time in which I really can get kids tuned in. Is when I'm reading a story to them. And so yeah, I don't find it really challenging because I feel like that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
I love it. I mean, reading was my favorite, so
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I am.
Mine too.
Yes, same.
I have kind of a question for all of you. So of course you all have, multiple books out and you've gotten responses. I just want to know, are there any particular feedback that you've gotten from the youth that's just stuck with you or inspired you even more to keep going?
Well, I'll start. My very first book, I Can't Just Try. My character is learning to play basketball, and they're like, "A girl, I mean, even though women do play sports, kids sometimes think that that's just boring, right?" And so in the book, she's learning to play basketball as the activity that her teacher encouraged her to learn the skill of being able to try. And just that idea of her playing and her trying to do it has inspired other kids to try new things instead of, what is said they're supposed to do. And so I've seen kids say to me like, I've tried to do X, Y, and Z, or I've never had that experience before, but I know my friend did, and this is what they, you know what I'm saying? So I've gotten a lot of those conversations as it related to that book. And then for I Am A to Z, it's more about them loving the idea that the words have this dictionary where they can actually like, oh, that's what that, so they get really intrigued by that.
So I wanted to show the cover of my book, and the book, What's Up, Romeo? Do Not Talk to Strangers. These are my grandbaby, and they are my inspiration. They are truly my inspiration. And what's so great about it is now a couple of them have taken the opportunity to, during reading time at their school, they'll take this book and they'll say, you know what, look what I did. And I don't have a problem with it. Yes, look what you did. Look at you helped Mimi. I'm Mimi. You helped Mimi produce this book. So these are my grandchildren. It's dedicated to them, and it's also inspiring them to write, also inspiring them to when it's time for them to get up for show and tell, they have something in hand, and they can also sell the book. So they have been to events where they have taken copies of the book, and after they have, talked about the book, they have had where they sold the book, and they can start collecting, having money, to maybe put away in a savings account or whatever. So whatever my children may want to do as far as their children are concerned. So I am just very happy that I have had an opportunity to inspire them. And maybe one day they will write, or maybe one day that their friends will, they will show their friends what writing can do, because that's what it's all about. Just introducing, writing, being creative, and just inspiring kids to pick up a book, to be creative, to have an imagination as well.
And I love the representation just from all of you guys. I just love seeing us on books, in books, for the children to know that, they can do whatever it is that their heart desires. I love the representation.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
All of you for that.
Mm-hmm. So for me, one of the things that happened early on after I published Christopher's Timeouts was my sister and I were in church, and I didn't know this at the time, but she was like my built-in marketer, like hands-on. And so my sister is an usher, and there was a lady that she noticed had 3 small kids, and they were kind of antsy and getting a little bit, just bored and just, disgruntled or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so she went and grabbed my book out of her purse or whatever, and just handed it to the woman and was like, do you mind, maybe this will help them. And it became a thing where the older one was reading it to the younger ones, and they were all engaged in it. And I had no idea this was going on until she came to me, and pointed it out to me that they were really into it, and they wanted to talk to me about it afterwards. And so that was just like, wow. And then from the perspective of the older child, because I thought after past 8, that was the threshold for my book, but it taught me that not so, because the older ones get joy out of reading to the younger ones. And then there have been times when I've been at vendor events where I've seen little kids, and especially little boys, because I was intentional about making the coloring the way that it is, because for one, like I said before, it's based on my son's antics when he was in kindergarten, and his room was blue. And so I made it the blue and the red. Red was his favorite color. So I wanted the bright colors. And so a lot of times they'll just grab it, and immediately start thumbing through it. And that's like, intense engagement. And that's the visual was everything. And so it helped me to really appreciate the fact that I took the time throughout the creative process to think through how I wanted it to look and what the reaction would be, because you have to know your audience, and I wanted to tap into that. And so it's been just a joy to see the feedback visually before they even speak on how they like it. They're attracted to it. It's something about it that makes them want to dig deeper. And that's the sign of a good book, because I know when I'm browsing in the library, which I still do, and that's, it's the cover, and then you want to open it up and see what it has inside.
Absolutely.
That's what's up. Jordan, are y'all good over there?
I say you come back in.
I think they're frozen or something.
Think so.
Yeah, but I love what y'all talking about. I got a 7-year-old daughter, man, and she loves the cell phone. She can tell you everything's going on YouTube and all this stuff here. So once we get done with the show here, I need to see how to get them books.
Absolutely.
Let's
We
can do that.
Yes.
I'm gonna say they can actually tell our viewers where they can find your books.
That also.
Absolutely.
Cause my daughter and my wife are always going back and forth because she grabbed a cell phone and want to be on YouTube. So now she don't figure it out that she go down in the basement, she can watch YouTube because my wife turned it off in the room. I'm like, you gonna get in trouble, you know?
So you can find my books on my website, learnreleasewalk.com. Not only will you find Learn Release Walk, the book that was launched first, but you will find the series, the What's Up Romeo series. But I also co-authored in celebration of my womanhood and Sacred Seeds of Wisdom. And Sacred Seeds of Wisdom, Dr. Carolyn Stevens, she was the impetus of that book. And she brought so many different women together from various cities and countries together to where we could add in our journey and triumphs and challenges. And that was a great experience. So it's learnreleasewalk.com. And my books is also found on Amazon. And I'm also on social media where you can reach out to me.
Absolutely. I hope y'all was writing that down.
I'm gonna get them to put it on the screen here a second. I think we have
cool.
Gary office. Miss Patricia, how can we find your stuff?
So anyone interested in Christopher's Timeouts can find it at bookbaby.com.
Bookbaby.com.
Bookbaby.com, yes.
Okay.
And Miss Teresa?
Yes, so you can find any of my books on my website, www.motherdoveskids.com. That's motherdoveskids.com. You can also find any of my books available on Amazon as well. Or you can simply, if you want to, just send me a quick text message and I will let you know. Okay? You ready for my number?
Yeah, I love the Amazon. I'm always on Amazon.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with Amazon. If you go to Amazon, you won't get a signed copy from me. And I'm pretty sure that you will want a signed copy from me because I also provide a personal message for our children on the book, in the book. So that's the only reason why. I mean, for sure you can always go on Amazon.
Hey, no, me and Ray need that sign card.
Exactly. We need signed copies.
That's what I'm saying. Like those are the best. Those are the best copies. So if you would like to, I can definitely put my number in the chat, and then it's my Google number because
Oh, that's what's up. I just said, man, you great.
No, it's my Google number that I use for my business. But yes, those are the two places in which you can find my book. Okay. And then I just wanted to really clearly highlight it because you said you have a 7-year-old who's not really this book here. The ABCs of Black History. It's a really good book. She will fall in love with all of the different characters in the book because it's teaching her about the impact that African Americans who have made in our community, and it will encourage her to then want to go look up more about them. So I have people like Queen Latifah, Spike Lee, Huey Newton, all these really impactful people that have made an impact in our community. So I just wanted to put that out there. So
Yeah,
it's a
I need that. Yeah, I need
I'm just
No.
saying, just saying.
that.
A great plug.
Yeah.
I need that one too.
Okay.
I have written down, well, typed out US web addresses. So these should scroll across the bottom of the screen as we're talking, as we're listening, so that the viewers can go catch them. I believe this was yours, Patricia,
Yes.
bookbaby.com.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure I got these correct. Teresa, yours was motherdove.com. Is that correct?
Mother Doves with an S kids.com. So motherdoveskids.com.
I'll edit that. And then I believe I have yours correct as well. Latanya, give me a moment. Make sure that this is correct. Is it learnreleasewalk.com? Is
It's
that correct?
yes, and my Google number, it can be found on the website. So once you go in to the website, my Google number is also listed as well.
Okay, perfect. I'll leave these scrolling for a bit while we have our discussion here. Nick, before I move on to some of the other comments, did you have some questions you wanted to pose to the audience?
Yeah. Couple things want to talk about.
All right.
How y'all doing?
Fine, how are you?
How are you?
Good. I want to ask about the Guild Awards. Your first time attending, the very first time, did you expect to win or did you want to win? That question is for everybody.
Okay, I'll start. For me, my very first time was last year, where I did win the award for Christopher's Timeouts. Of course, I wanted to win. Who doesn't want to win, right? You know, especially in the company of that I was in. I'm like, wow, these are, this is good company to be in. But I honestly did not expect, because I'm still thinking, okay, I'm new to this. Even though I was nominated and that was a surprise. I mean, I didn't expect it to the point where when my name was called, I sat there like for several minutes, because I'm seeing it on the screen, but I couldn't react to it because that was not my expectation, so it was just like, it was surreal to me, and I was very thankful for it and everything, but no, I didn't expect it, because in my mind, I just felt like, oh, I had to get more books under my belt in order for this to happen, or have, I'm a first time author, and, I had all of these reasons why that just would not be, for me that night. And so one thing it did teach me, though, was to think bigger than, don't put myself in the box, because you never know how far you can reach.
So you was totally surprised.
I was.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I would have to say the same. I was, elated. I was like, wow, okay. But did I expect it? No. I was very hopeful. I was very prayerful. I spent a lot of time like, oh please, God, right? But when the time actually came, just like Patricia, I was in shock. I was like, wait, is that me?
Exactly.
It's actually me. And at the time I was pregnant too. So I like hobbled my little pregnant self up to the podium like,
So I know for me, I was sitting next to Shayna, and I literally asked her, what do I do now? You know what I mean? She was like, get up. And so it was like, I had to be forced back into reality and finish this, because I did not, I didn't allow myself to imagine what that would look like, So when it happened, even though we were told, come up to the stage and say your little piece or whatever, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's not going to be what I'm going to have to do tonight. And so, yeah, it's surreal.
And I think
for me, it was, I was very excited. Did I want to win? Of course I wanted to win. Did I expect to win? Just like the other authors were saying, this was my first go around. It was my first book. So it was very surreal. It was a blessing. And other people or other women have had read Learn, Release, Walk, and it was like, oh my goodness, Latanya, you really poured into this book, you know. So I felt that I had a really good chance. But when you see your name go up and you see your name up and everybody is clapping for you, that's a that's a moment right there within itself. It really is. It's
Yes.
very emotional. They ask you to write something down so that you can say, just in the event that your book is recognized and it has won an award, and you forget everything that you wrote. So, but yes, it is. It's truly a powerful moment, and I just very thankful and appreciative to Miss Gina Gatson and the whole team,
Absolutely.
you know, for putting this together, because this is really has blessed and opened doors for so many of the authors. You just really don't know. Even to this point, we're here with you all in this space. So yes, it's been awesome. It's been
I also
amazing.
wanted to know too, because I'm pretty sure you guys experienced this as well. That anticipation of like not even being notified of like what other books were in the running.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, that pressure right there is like, wow, you know. But when you finally like see your name and you're like, I'm so happy that everybody were nominated, but I was chosen. That is so surreal. And so I just want to say that piece.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And for me, it just helped build my confidence in I'm selling myself short. You know, I was given this gift. I feel what we have, it's a gift and we don't take it lightly. That's why we pour into it and treat it the way that we do. And so that helped me to just think bigger, as Dr. Carolyn told me, you know, you're thinking too small. And so that helped me to, because I never thought to, again, back to, you know, oh, are you going to write another one? What do you mean? You know, I kind of thought this was just a one and done kind of a thing, but it just helped me tap into there's something more that I'm supposed to pour out, you know, to others, you know. And so that was part of that catalyst to help me see things a little bit differently.
Okay. So let's think back to the not even speaking about the Guild Awards, but any awards that you guys went for, and it may have been times that you did not win. Did that paralyze you, or did that encourage you to get out there and immediately start back working on something new?
Just so I can phrase this question, I don't believe that you all have went to the awards and not won an award, right? Am I correct on that? You've been nominated, and each time.
Well, that was my first time, and this is my second one. The first one was a self-development book, and this time I'm entering the children's series. So yeah, but if my name had not been called, it's just a blessing being nominated. It's just a blessing being recognized. If I go on November 7th and What's Up Romeo, the series isn't recognized, it's just a blessing just being in the room. Because it's so many other doors that have been opened. When Learn, Release, Walk, I had been wanting to write a children's book for at least a year before I even entered Learn, Release, Walk. It was only then when I entered Learn, Release, Walk and I was introduced to Dr. Carolyn Stevens that Romeo was brought to life. I had written it down. I had already started on it, but that's when it was brought to life. And not only that, Learn, Release, Walk now, within the next 2 weeks, the workbook to Learn, Release, Walk is going to be published, and it's called Awake and Activate the Power Within. So you got so many people pouring into you, and got so you have a community of people
Yes,
helping you.
yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's the blessing of all of this. Yeah, it's the recognition, it's the awards, it's meeting other authors, but it's so much more than that. So if
Absolutely.
my name is not called, I'm good because I know that I wouldn't even have this opportunity if it wasn't for Gina, if it wasn't for Dag, if it wasn't for Greg, if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for any of this. All of this is just an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, I agree because for me, just even putting my book into the ring, that was due to the slight slash not so slight nudging from Natalie Murphy, who was like, "Oh, well, you need to go ahead and submit it." And I'm like, again, well, what does she mean? She's written like 12 million books, and then I'm just with my first one. I'm not ready for the awards arena. What is that all about? But then she nudged me again, and then I thought, well, it can't hurt. It can't hurt. Why not? And then I just submitted it and I literally didn't think anything else about it because I just thought, okay, well, I got that done and we'll just see. But again, to what Latanya was saying about the community, the way that people around us in this organization are pouring into us and helping us to think so much bigger than what we thought was possible. It's helped us to open up doors, helped us to walk through doors that have opened based on our, being willing to accept that, okay, this thing is bigger than we are.
Yeah, I would have to definitely agree with my fellow authors on that. Like, not being able to say that you won it, but just to have the idea that you were nominated, like, it's just a huge deal. To say that someone saw worth in your creation. My books have had several awards in the past, and I have won, like, I think about 3 or 4 other awards, but to see this one, I Am A to Z, and come to this point, it's just an amazing thing to, like, just witness. And I, like they all said, like, I can't wait to just be in the room with them all, and be like, you did that, because we doing it, and we're doing our best, and we're really inspiring our youth and adults and whoever our books are for, because if we don't put our work out there, then our stories won't ever be told.
And inspiring each other as authors as well. Like I see you and you see me, and we're encouraging each other and celebrating each other's accomplishments. And that's important as well. That's, to me, that's the real sense of community. Like, we're helping to build each other up, and we fly together.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Real quick before we move on, I know we're at an hour. I'm not sure how long Gina told you. We normally shoot a show for an hour, but we get to talking and having these conversations, so we end up going over a lot of the time. I want to get to some of these comments. Let's see. Shannon Jenkins, I think she just listed you all's websites. And again, I have a banner running. I'll put that back on in a second after we get done with comments, where they can go and make purchases of the books that you guys have authored. Shannon Jenkins also said Distinguished Author Guild Awards November 7th, 5 p.m., Theater 47, Park Forest, Illinois. Get your tickets. Proceeds go towards literacy scholarships for the youth. And she also dropped a link. I have to copy that link, and after the show is done, I'll rewrite our description and I'll include that link so our listeners can go and purchase tickets if they would like to.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Shannon Jenkins said, yes, you did, Patricia Wallace. Let's see. Greg Gray says there is a process to win the award. All of the entries were great books, but once the voting ends in each category, a winner is chosen and celebrated. We invite everyone to submit their books. Also, once you are at the actual show, you are a winner anyway because of the networking.
That part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that, Greg.
Let's see. Greg Gray, you hit the nail on the head. Networking opportunities are endless. Oh, so we're going back and forth in the comments. I see what they're doing.
No. Going on.
Jenny Gasson said Dr. Carolyn Stevens is the GOAT.
Yes, she
That's
is.
true. That's
And
true.
you are too, Gina.
Yes. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
you are.
Natalie R. Murphy, yes.
Another GOAT. Let's see. And Gina said, keep going. The conversation's always. Gina, you know how we do. You know exactly how this goes here on the D-Star Show. All right, let's put that comment away. So I'm going to go back to another comment that was mentioned by Nixon. And he said, creating positive stories for youth to consume is one thing, but how do you get them to care about them? And what I'm assuming he's asking is, how do you continue to grasp engagement from the youth? Because this is the thing. A lot of us as human beings, we start out doing things. You start training for something, or you start reading a book, or you start a new habit, or you start to break a habit, but we fall off. And children are no different. They'll start a habit and they will fall off. So how do you retain children's attention to some of your works? What are some things that you do? And I believe illustrations was mentioned right before this. So if you want to make mention of the illustrations you use, that would be great as well. Why don't we start with Teresa?
Yeah, how do we maintain that they are still engaged with the stories? One of the things that I find a little sad is that usually when I read to the kids, like at events and things like that, it's like the only time I get to interact with them. It's the only time I get to like really truly encourage them. But one of the things in which I say before they leave, I have the kids to recite what I tell my students all the time, which is Terry's favorite phrase. You can do anything if you just try. You can do anything if you just try. And so I try to really instill that in our kids during my events, because I know it's like a takeaway for them when they leave my event, because I might not get to see them again. But I'm also really big on trying to encourage our parents, because they are their first teachers. They are the people that really are with them all the time, who can really foster that love of reading by encouraging them, hey, go to the library, get your library card. Libraries have so many different things for kids. Also, just encourage them how to interact with stories. If we teach our parents how to do it, it will most likely allow our children to become lovers of reading. So that's where I try to, bring it forth there.
Okay.
For
Right.
me, I think introducing various concepts. As I indicated previously, someone asked me, maybe you need to write a series on bullying. There's a bully in the neighborhood, simply because kids do get bullied. We still deal with that in school, but we also need to teach children about nutrition. We need to teach children about the importance of. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, I think my earbud. Let's see if I can get this one. The importance of nutrition and the importance of going to the doctor, and how important that is. So just introducing various concepts, and what we need to do, what are some of the other important things that they need to learn. And then, like you said, make it fun. In my books, I have poems. In all of my books, I have poems. So that's introducing them to an art. As you read, make up poems, answer the questions. There's songs and things of that sort. So my answer will be introduce different components, see what other
issues, or what other things that you want your child to walk away with. And if it's important to your child or to children that's closest to you, then it's going to be important to other kids as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, for me, I would say just engaging in them and really trying to pick their brains, them meaning the children, what are their interests? You know, because there's so many varieties. If you want to get them interested, just find out, just what do you like? Do you like animals? Like we talked about animals as characters in the books. Do you like basketball? You like sports? My son liked dinosaurs. So in my book, they help him learn how to they help hit the way of acting like he has good sense in the class. They help him come to that realization through a series of dream sequences. He was interested in the T-Rex and the Triceratops, and so I incorporated those in bright colors again because those were the things he was interested in. And then there's sports and whatever that is, but really trying to find out what do they like, because there's something out there for everyone. That's the beauty again of all these books that we have out there, because everyone may not be interested in everything, but I'm sure if we just try to deep dive and show them examples, well, hey, look here, you want to read about this, you want to read about that, children who may have different capabilities than others and different cultures and just whatever. So for me, it's just the tapping into where their mind is and what interests them. It's what to spark what will hold their attention.
I have a shift that I want to take in this conversation, because a lot of our dialogue has been about younger children, probably that range of maybe 2 to 5 to 6-ish, those pre-K kids, and then on up to grade school. But I have a question. So for the children now that we have, we'll say past 5th grade, maybe 5th or 6th grade, that do not have sufficient reading comprehension skills, that do not have literacy skills, how do we tackle that problem? Give me some examples of how we can reshape their futures, because right now we have a lot of young people above the age of 10 years old that cannot read at a grade school level. They don't understand words. Their vocabulary is minimalistic. They have a lot of challenges that they will face going into adulthood, not being able to read, not being literate. How do we tackle that? How do we change the trajectory of some of those kids?
Not to cut them off though, Jordan, no, but like we said, it started from home. The problem is,
I'm saying you're past that now. We're talking.
The problem is a lot of some of the people at home can't read. You got grown folks that can't read.
Yeah.
So how can I teach you something that I don't know?
So I mean, are we saying that we just abandon those children?
Programs like this here, man. We just got to get out in the community and start helping people, man. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody that go to school don't come from a good home. We don't know how to, we don't know what they had to do to get to school. But I know a lot of everybody on this platform said start at home. That may sound great, but sometimes, and as we know, in our community, our kids are having kids. You know what I'm saying? Babies are having babies. So how can another baby teach another baby how to do something? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes them going to school and programs like this here, Dope Living TV, we're going to step out and try to help these kids.
Where would you all say that we start to reshape the futures of some of these folks?
I have a comment. I think we don't give up on them, right? That's never the option. But as Patricia was talking about, as it relates to doing things that spark the interest, we have to really start to figure out what is it that they really like, what is it that really make them want to engage in something, and then use that to then encourage literacy, right? Because reading isn't everything that we do, right? So if we encourage them through a skill of their interest, and we start to teach them those different skills, then they will learn that dynamic of whatever it is that they are interested in, right? So if a student likes to garden, or likes plants and things like that, then I give them the experience of how to garden. And then we are starting to like research, how do I keep this to get a green thumb, right? So I have to involve them in that experience. But in order for them to know how to do it, they then have to read it. They then have to explore the possibilities of what that would look like. And so actually providing them opportunities where they're learning something, a skill or anything that is of their interest, will then encourage them to want to learn a little bit more. Now, will they learn everything? Will they be able to grasp all of the concepts that are taught within our school system? Probably not, but they can learn a specific skill that will be able to help them in their future. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because
That does.
that's kind of how, like, where I'm trying to work towards. Like, my tutoring business go up to we work up to 12 years old, but once my kids pass that grade and I'm still starting to see, like, deficits within their reading ability, I'm encouraging parents to reach out to organizations that are providing resources that are sparking of their own personal interest. And every kid is different, and so we gotta have to know our kids.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that Teresa just said. And in addition, one of those resources which was mentioned before is the library, because of all of the programs that they have, and it's free. You know what I mean? So then that takes away that obstacle, if that happens to be one. And there's such a variety, and they're constantly changing, and they're very up to date with what's going on in the world now, like the computer classes and all of those things, in addition to the books, and just another asset for learning and how we do it. So I just think, in addition to what Teresa just said, just, providing that actual, ideas of places and tangible, ways to get those awareness. Again, it's about awareness, get that out there to the people who need it.
And I want to add another component to that, because I'm about community, the church. You have a lot of churches, the faith-based community, having various programs for the entire family, because you indicated if the mother and the father and the grandmother and the auntie don't know how to read, if they had an experience with school where they did not get everything that they needed. It could be because, we have schools now in some communities don't have the proper materials or resources. That can be a component as well. So you have a lot of churches seeking resources that will help the family unit. Right now, there's a couple of churches in our community that, when they help the children, and when they see the parent is struggling as well, now you got the entire family being educated. So I think if more churches step up to the plate, because some programs maybe they can't afford, if there's a cost to it. But if these churches step in and they're willing to help the community, that will serve as another resource as well.
I agree.
All right. I got a couple more comments I want to read through, but those are great answers. The reason I asked this question is because a lot of focus on early education is very important. But like Dee said, we have some grown adults that they can't read a paragraph, and some of the things that are funny and not funny at the same time. We all know when you were in school and you played popcorn reading, and you called on somebody that you knew couldn't read, and that person continued to matriculate through school not being able how to read. Now they're adults now. Now they have to, well, actually, let me rewind. Now they are subject to less opportunities because they're illiterate. They don't have a chance at being as successful as someone else because their literacy level is lower than the average adult. And I do believe that kind of goes into a lot of our problems, especially when it comes to people's attitudes, people's dispositions, their personalities, behind not being able to understand something, because it gets frustrating. Someone puts a big piece of text in front of you as an adult, and you know that you can't read it, or you're not going to understand it, or words are large and more than 2 or 3 syllables, and you're going to struggle with it. Oftentimes we give up. And I think that it is 100% important that we focus on that at a younger age, so we don't produce adults that have these types of issues. But we're in this space where now education isn't really as important to a lot of people as it used to be, which means educating their children isn't as important as it used to be. And I do think that one of the beautiful steps to this is getting the parents involved, getting engagement from the parents, because I'm sure that some of them also learn some new things while they're educating their children through you all's works. Nick Davis, wait, got Greg. No, I got another comment. So Gina is the goat of goats. That's what Sinead Jenkins said. Greg Gray said, I want to at least be a calf. If he can't be a goat, he wants to be a calf. Nick Davis II said, part of the reason I asked that question is because books are important and it is still a booming industry. However, we want kids and even adults to read when they have access to literally any video, podcast, TV show, etc. What are some solutions to this dilemma? For example, audiobook versions of your book. That's a good
question. He asked that because I was definitely going to ask if you all offered any electronic versions of your books for the tablet kids, as we call them.
I have the Kindle version of I Can't Just Try. However, this is the issue that I've been facing. Amazon keep messing up the copy when it's downloaded, and it's like really frustrating me. But I did take that into consideration, that there are a lot of kids who like to read on the tablet. Like, I mean, I read on my tablet, right? So I get that piece. But I definitely need to find another avenue because Amazon ain't working.
I'm the first person to heard say that, so
it's kind of ridiculous, to be honest.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah, it's just like, that's still a big question mark for me as well. But it's definitely a viable alternative, because that is a thing. People like to listen to books, and but it's just trying to figure that out. For the children's book, it's just it's more challenging, I'm finding.
Yeah.
So
me personally, I tend to always want my son to not have his tablet time as often as he'd like. But of course, us reading together, that's our time to disconnect and just learn. So I'm okay if you don't have the electronic version. I'm totally fine with that.
Let's see. I got another comment here. It says, if I can't be a goat, can I at least be a calf? So Greg is still at it. He's not letting
You're
that go.
a goat, Greg. Yes, you are.
Capital G, capital G.
Capital G.
DAG is full service. Reach out too. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna close that. So we're at an hour and a half, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know it's getting rather late, depending on where you are. So, so I just want to thank you all for coming on. Thank you for your time, especially your efforts that you're pouring into our youth, because someone has to do it.
Absolutely.
We have children growing up without books, without knowledge, without being, read information. And if we don't continue producing works that our children can relate to, because that's the biggest part of this, our children being able to relate to a book, something that's about them, like them, as well as Latanya said, something that identifies everyday struggles. For example, bullying in schools. If we don't our children that there are ways to read about these things and tackle these problems at an early age, they're going to carry it into adolescence as well as adulthood. So I do commend you all. Congratulations on your awards and your nominations. Thank you for being a part of the D Stark Show. It was a pleasure to have you on. Also, thank you, Gina, for helping us collaborate with everyone. I do appreciate your time. And if anyone has any closing remarks, now would be the time.
I wanted to just say thank you to all of you, for allowing us to be on this call, but also what you're pouring into your own children. I think it's so important that as we talk about it, we're also being that living example for our own children and those children in which we encounter every day. So thank you all for doing your part in this journey as we continue to develop our children in their future. So that's what I wanted to say. And you have a 3-year-old. I'm a preschool teacher, so I appreciate you for real. I appreciate it.
It'd be hard.
Yeah.
I was, growing up, I was really big on education. The things that I learned, my aunt was an educator, my grandmother was an educator. I have a cousin that's an educator. My one of my other aunts, she's involved with the Gary Literacy Coalition. So from an early age, it was, hey, you have to be intelligent. You have to have some sense of literacy, mathematics, and things like that in order to be successful in life. And it's true. It's one of those things that you have to do as a parent. You have to educate your kids. So I'm doing my best. It's around Halloween time, and my kids, I don't let them have a bunch of candy. They can have one piece of candy every now and again. We go back and forth on things, and a lot of people call me really strict. I don't care. It doesn't really bother me any, but sugar is one of those things that you cannot give too much to your kid. You can't. And I know you're looking at me crazy.
Sugar is addictive.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't
And
get tofu and dry banana.
Right.
They don't work like that.
You gotta chill, man.
And I too want to thank you all for this opportunity. This was a great interview. It was educational for some people, and also it's around the holiday time. So if anyone want to buy a children's book, if you want your kids to know about and learn about diversity, self-awareness, having good judgment, staying safe, mental health, emotional management, these books could serve as great gifts for Christmas. You may not have small children, but there's always children around us that is needing to learn and to pick up a book. So thank you all again for this opportunity.
And I echo everything that my DAG sisters have just said. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We don't take it lightly. And also thank you to the Distinguished Authors Guild for making this connection for us and helping to establish these types of platforms, because we don't take that lightly either. And so, I'm just grateful for this conversation and to be here and to just get to know a little bit more about the other authors as well. That was quite enjoyable. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. We have 2 more comments and then we're going to close out. Nick said, appreciate all the answers, just trying to provoke some thought. Thank you for coming on. And Gina said, thank you for opening the doors for the DAG authors. Yeah, Gina, anytime, if you want to collab on anything in the future, you know where to find the D Stark Show. And again, pleasure for having all of you on. Again, thank you for your time. Continue doing what you're doing. And we don't take it lightly. We do appreciate all the work that you're pouring into our youth. Keep up the great work.
Yeah. And y'all always welcome back.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
again, I know I've said it before, but just thank you for the work that you're doing. I love having educators, authors that care about, our youth, especially because we didn't have many books that were geared towards us or for us by us growing up. So I love it. I appreciate it.
I love that.
Yes.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of the D Stark Show, and we are out.
We are out.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
You as well.
Have a nice evening, everyone.
Roll the credits.
Bye-bye.